I'm Tom Krugoff, and I'm here with Chamber Revenue Strategies Executive Cole Wyatt to discuss their Goodwill Gift Program. They actually send out birthday cards full of gift certificates to every resident in the community.
In addition to that, once we start with the birthday cards, Tom, we then expand the program to send cards for every birth, new baby, every wedding, celebrating a marriage, every new homeowner, and even each person that starts a new business.
Your website does a nice job of explaining your program. I think I understand what the program is. Can you explain why it works?
Well, in today's discussion, we're going to really drill down into several psychological principles, universal laws really, that force a consumer to want to get out there and redeem their gift certificates, that engage them into the process to the point where they're drawn, compelled really, to then create a long-standing relationship with that sponsor. But at first blush, the 30,000-foot view, is the program works well because everybody profoundly benefits from the program that touches it. It all begins, Tom, with a consumer. Picture yourself at home, you go to your mailbox and all of a sudden you've got a birthday card there and you start thumbing through and you've got 10 or 15, 20, 25 gifts, bona fide, no strings attached gifts that are there to add to your celebration, if you will. Okay, and so it all begins by just kind of rocking the world of that resident, and then that spills over into those small businesses that are marketing through our program because they have people coming in excited about their free massage or their free oil change or their free month at the health club, or I'm here to get my free large birthday pizza, and they benefit obviously from the enthusiasm from that person, and then the law of reciprocity, which we'll talk about, that comes from giving that gift. And then the chambers, of course, have their goodwill plastered all throughout the city. I mean, they've actually, at no expense to them whatsoever, have spent or have sent birthday cards to everybody in their community. And of course, then we hope that it turns into a viable financial venture for us. But at first blush, I think one of the reasons why the program is getting such a buzz and it's being talked about the way it is simply because of the fact that every single person that's involved benefits in such an extraordinary way.
Okay, I think I understand it, but why free gifts?
Well, nothing works as well as free, Tom. It's really interesting when you get into the research, and I'm a bit of a junkie in this area, but when you get into the research, what you learn is that from a psychological perspective, something that's free is treated completely differently. That becomes a social dynamic, and something that has a cost, no matter how minuscule, becomes a financial dynamic. There's a professor at Duke, Dr. Dan Ariely, A-R-I-E-L-Y, I may be mispronouncing his name, but he did an interesting study. And in that study, he took a Lindt chocolate truffle, okay, real delicacy, right? And he gave you a choice. You can have a Lindt chocolate truffle for 14 cents, which is a real bargain, okay? Or you can have a Hershey's Kiss for a penny. Which one do you want? Well over 70% said, I'll take the truffle, okay? Then he went back and he said, okay, you can have your Lindt chocolate truffle for 13 cents, discounted only a penny, or the Hershey's Kiss free, and you can only have one. What do you think happened?
Hershey's Kiss.
Virtually nobody wants the truffle. Everybody wants the free thing. And interestingly enough, he'd done another experiment that I actually mocked myself this past Halloween. I love Halloween and trick-or-treaters. And when they came to the door, I live in an area where we get bombarded, so I had lots of samples, okay? And when the kids had come to the door, Tom, I had them put out their hands, sometimes 4 or 5 of them in a row, put out your hands, okay? And I put 5 chocolate kisses in their hands. And then I would say, okay, here's your choice. You can have your 5 kisses, or if you'll give me 1 chocolate kiss back, I'll give you a small Snickers bar. Or if you give me 2 of your 5 chocolate kisses, I'll give you a big Snickers bar. Now, kids, they're horse traders, especially when it comes to an important commodity like candy. Okay, so what did they all do? They said, 2 for 14 ounces of Snickers bars is a pretty good deal. I'll do that. So then everyone did. Then they come to the door, 5 kisses in their hand, right? And I said, okay, you can either have one, in addition to your 5 kisses, one Snickers bar that is free in addition to your kisses. Or if you'll give me just one kiss, I'll give you the bigger Snickers bar. What did they do? They all took the little free one. There's just something the psychologists say that's magical, Tom, about free. No strings attached, free. And so it's because of that that when we give a gift of a free pizza or a free month at a health club or a free watch battery or jewelry cleaning at a jewelry store or whatever it might be, that it stirs a person completely differently than 2 for 1 or buy one, get 5 free or any other marketing concept where there is a financial transaction involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, could you describe a little bit what would be in a typical gift package that they're going to get? And I think I know the answer to this question, but do any of them come with any strings attached?
Yeah, okay. In the packet, for a sponsor, we'll call them, okay, a chamber member, to participate in our program, they have to give a gift that, as a standalone, Tom, by itself, you could put into a Hallmark card or something and give to an associate or a friend, and it becomes now a birthday gift or a housewarming gift or here's your new baby gift by itself. Okay, it's got to be totally acceptable as a standalone. So then, as you think about an aggregate, you put 15, 20, 25, sometimes more gifts together. Now you really have something. And typically what you're going to find, of course it'll vary, but you'll always see a free oil change. And what's that, 30, 35 bucks or more in some cases? You're virtually always going to have an insurance agent, and they can't give a free insurance product, but they'll give a security a product like a smoke detector or maybe a fire extinguisher. Or I have an insurance agent that I work with that, you know what he does? He has a couple, Esmeralda and Raphael, okay? And Esmeralda will do 2 free hours of house cleaning. Or Raphael will detail your car dealership new is what he calls it, right in your driveway. So the insurance agent shows up, introduces them to Raphael or Esmeralda. They get to work, and then that's his gift to them, and he has an opportunity then to meet and introduce himself, and it works exceedingly well. We'll frequently have tons of food. There's always pizza. A free large pizza is always there. Oftentimes a dozen donuts. There's half a dozen different restaurants usually that will be participating. But then there's a lot of experiential things, movie tickets, theater tickets to small town theater, 3 hours of bowling. There's generally always a round of golf. Okay, you responded to that. Okay, but there's normally, again, 15, 20, 25 different things that are all thoughtful, no strings attached, nothing to buy, gifts that are just love offerings, really, that come from the Chamber of Commerce and their members.
Can you say what is the total value of a typical gift package?
Well, it varies naturally, but I would say north of a couple $100 in virtually every case. You're almost always going to have a free oil change, 30, 35 bucks. You're almost always going to have a massage. What's an hour massage? 50, 60 bucks or more. You're almost always going to have a round of golf. That can vary quite a bit depending on the golf course involved. There's 20, 25 certificates on average. A lot of the retailers are going to offer $5 and $10 gift cards, cash money in our store kind of scenarios. There's a free large pizza that's always going to be in there. That's knocking on the door of $20 probably in most places. And so I would say you could just about count on, Tom, that it's going to run a couple $100 or more. So it's a nice, valuable gift. And then what's neat about that is it's not one gift for $200. It's all of these gifts. And keep in mind, that means each one's needing to be redeemed, right? Mm-hmm. So what we oftentimes say is we're going to take your birthday and turn it into a birth month. Because if you're redeeming 25 gifts right over the course of a month, every day is an additional part of your celebration because of the fact that you have more gifts to redeem.
And what kind of reaction do you receive or anticipate receiving from the residents who get these?
Well, put yourself in the position of a resident receiving the gifts. And one, it's a complete surprise to you. Two, it's very valuable. Okay, you're going to have 15, 20, 25 gifts that are involved. Imagine the fact that you've got someone who has picked you out and they're acknowledging one of the more important ceremonies of life. Okay, and so our feeling is that it's going to be exceedingly well received. There's nothing in the package that is in any way, shape, or form marketing. There's no teaser copy on the outside of the envelope. There's no sales message of any type. You're going to find a very sentimental, heartfelt, happy birthday or whatever the greeting might be in there multiple times from the chamber. And so based on the fact that there's no financial side to it whatsoever, it transitions over to that social dynamic we talked about. It becomes more of a social construct. And we think, based upon that we're going to have a exceedingly positive reaction.
And tell me about this ringless voicemail, and how does that add to the experience?
Well, that's a new technology, Tom, that we've invested in. And the way it works is we actually can circumvent the ringing of a phone and lay down a voicemail message right into the voice. They look at the phone and go, I didn't even hear it ring. And then they listen to the voicemail message. And before every packet is sent, the executive director in their community is going to send them a heads up call. We call it a teaser voicemail message that basically, we playfully put Bruce Wayne in there as the Gotham City Chamber of Commerce executive director, but it'll say, hi, this is Bruce Wayne. I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, and I saw your birthday was fast approaching, and I wanted to tell you we're sending you out a gift package or something, or I noticed you just got married, and we have a gift package on the way to help you celebrate, okay, or whatever. And think about it. When you're on your way, flying or driving to a vacation, aren't you more excited than you are as you're driving or on your way home? Weren't you more excited Christmas Eve than you were the day after Christmas? And so we actually create an anticipation for the goodwill packet, firstly. And then secondly, by giving them the heads up that it's coming, then they're kind of on the lookout for something that has no strings attached gifts. Oftentimes that voicemail will say, we've got a free pizza in this for you, a free month at the health club, we've got a free oil change, we've got, a free this, free that, and free tanning, free golf, round of golf. And so because they know that a lot of free stuff is coming, they pay a little more attention to the mailbox over the next couple of days as they anticipate the packet.
A few minutes ago, you said something about the law of reciprocity. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
It's really the underpinning of our program. The sociologists, the behavior psychologists will say it's the single most important law in our human interactions, and that is that you can't do something for me without me feeling a need to do something in return, something like back to you. If you invite me to a party, then I want to invite you to my next party. If we're at lunch today and you offer to pick up the tab, then I'm going to say, hey, Tom, the next one's on me. Okay. If we're just passing each other on the street and you smile, what happens? I smile. Okay. You say good morning, then you're likely to get a reply. Okay. And just the other day at the gym, I was getting a drink of water at the water fountain, and a guy standing behind me waiting in line, and I said, hey, this round's on me. Well, his reaction, although I was just being playful, right? He said, well, I'll get the next one. Okay. It's just in our culture, in our DNA, and it's in every culture in the world. It's one of the things that just is pervasive everywhere on earth. And so with the law of reciprocity, a couple of things you might find interesting. One point that I think really drives it home is there was a study, and we're going to talk about a lot of studies today because, again, I'm really into the research, and we thoroughly considered this before we launched the business. Tom, the research tells us that, well, let me ask you, if a waitress leaves you a single mint with your bill at the end of your meal, would that impact your tip? Most people would think not. Okay. The research tells us it actually does, that it impacts your tip by 3%, not 3% of the total, but the tip increases 3%. So it's a minor increase. But if they add a second mint, surely that wouldn't double your, actually it quadruples it. A second mint, Tom, changes the tip to 14% more than the base number. But Tom, if the waitress gives you 1 mint for each person in your party, turns their back as though they're going to walk away and goes, "For you nice people," and gives a second one, and they actually take the time to put it in front of each one of the patrons, the tip goes up 24%. So a $40,000 a year waitress now makes 50. A small thing like that. A $20,000 a year waitress now makes 25. So an important impact. The Hare Krishnas. Are you familiar with that religion, or you know what I'm talking about? They were in desperate financial straits a number of years ago. And so they dispatched their people to train stations and airports, primarily airports. Have you seen them there? Okay. And what they decided to do was approach people with a gift, the law of reciprocity. And they had a flower. And they would say, "I have a gift for you." And without asking your permission, they would begin to just pin this flower to your lapel. And if you resisted at all, they'd say, "Oh, no, this is my gift to you." Okay. And we're taught, accept a gift, right? Don't straight arm them. Okay, so you accept the gift, and then they would say, "And if you choose to make a donation, I'm with the Hare Krishnas," right? And you know what we found? That virtually everybody, you don't accept without giving. We have names in our culture for people like that, right? Welchers, take advantage, right? So virtually everybody reached in their pocket and made a donation to a cause that they didn't necessarily support. Most of them undid the flower. They didn't want to be seen as a supporter of the Hare Krishnas and dropped it at the nearest trash receptacle. And then the Hare Krishnas would actually go to the receptacles, pick up the flowers, and recycle them, Tom. But the point is that people felt compelled to pay. Another one that you might find interesting. There is a professor from Brigham Young, Peter Coates, and he decided he'd do a social experiment. He's a behavior psychologist, right? And he would send 600 Christmas cards to people he didn't know. And he got into some directories at random, found 600 people, Tom, that he had never met, okay? And he sent them a nice Christmas card with pictures of his family, okay, little note, okay, as an experiment, and he sent it out. What do you think happened? He had over 200 responses. Now, those that are in direct mail and business know that a 2% response is fantastic in business. 1% is pretty normal. 0.5% is pretty typical, okay? But 2% is knocking it out of the park. He had a 33% response. And when these cards started rolling back in, they started trickling at first, and he was getting a dozen or more a day, okay? Pictures of the family that he had sent the card to, handwritten notes, in some cases notes that were inserted in the card because the note wouldn't fit all they wanted to write on the card. In a couple, 3 different cases, they had 3- and 4-page handwritten letters to him. Yeah, with a 30% response, over 200 responses. And then the kicker, the second year, he still got cards from them. The third, and as the story unfolds, as he kept track of his numbers, 15 years later, he was still receiving Christmas cards from people that he had mailed anonymously 15 years ago. Last one for you. In Cornell, a professor named Dennis Reagan did the famous Coca-Cola experiment. And he brought in a bunch of participants, and he told them that they were here for a psychological experiment to be art critics and to give their feedback on art. But when they would bring you in, let's say you're the subject, they would have a Confederate with you that you thought was also a subject. Let's say that was me. Okay. His name was Joe. Okay. And while we're critiquing the art, Joe would excuse himself and leave the room for a moment. And when he came back, he would say, when I asked the professor if I could get a soft drink, and he said it was okay, so I got you one with me. So it gives you a Coke. And in the study, they had Joe, first off, either be a very nice, pleasant, kind person, or they had him be just a cantankerous cuss, okay? Really somebody who was obnoxious and someone nobody would like, okay? And you know what they found? At the end of the experiment, Joe, before he left, would say, hey, I'm involved in a project for building a new gymnasium back in my hometown for the high school, and we're having a contest, and if you'd buy some raffle tickets for me, whoever sells the most raffle tickets gets a free car, okay? And could I interest you in some raffle tickets? And what we found was when he came back with the soda, he got 500% more raffle tickets than if he came back empty-handed. If he came back empty-handed, the amount of raffle tickets that you bought had to do with how likable he was. If he was a cantankerous cuss, you didn't buy too many raffle tickets, maybe one for a quarter, okay? If he's pretty friendly, you might have bought a little more. But if he brought you a soda, whether you liked him or you did not like him, you bought raffle tickets, and you bought more raffle tickets. You bought 5 times the number of raffle tickets that you would have gotten had he not given you something. And so the idea here is that the law of reciprocity says, if I do something for you, you feel compelled to reciprocate regardless as to whether you know me, like Dr. Koontz, okay, whether you like me, the Coca-Cola experiment, okay, or whether you believe in what I believe or you're supporting the cause that I'm promoting, like the Hare Krishnas. In all of those scenarios, that is usurped by the fact that you must respond in kind to the receipt of a gift. So when you think about the fact that we're sending gifts, Tom, to every adult resident in the community for their birthday and all the important other occasions of their life, the law of reciprocity will demand the fact that they're reciprocating. Who are they going to reciprocate with? Not me, okay. The sponsors that have given them a free massage, or the sponsors that have given them a free meal, or has provided for them a free bouquet of flowers, or whatever free gift that they might give. And what will that response be? It'll be their loyalty, it'll be their referrals, it'll be their future business. And all of those things you could never achieve with, as you said, why free? With something that is discounted. It's because of the fact that it was a free, no strings attached gift that compels people to comply with the law of reciprocity. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. You don't have to be a social behavioral psychologist to know that as it relates to goodwill, everybody loves free. Everybody loves unexpected surprises. Everybody loves being recognized, especially for important celebrations in life.
Yes.
And everybody loves no strings attached gifts.
No question about it.
As it relates to chamber members, gift package sponsors, all that love and appreciation will be heaped on them. They could never create this kind of program that gives mass appeal without the chamber. They'll have a stampede of new customers coming through the door. And all they have to do is not drop the ball when the customer comes in with the gift certificate to be redeemed.
And then allow the law of reciprocity, liking, and authority to do the rest of the work for them.
Sadly, this is all the time we have for this topic today. I think you have a fascinating and well-conceived business plan. I wish you the greatest success.
Thank
as everyone benefits from touching this Goodwill gift program. I'm truly excited for your future. It's got great potential, and I hope that you'll please come back and visit again and give us an update.
Well, I'd love to. Thank you, Tom.